Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. We're going to do a little bit of a weird outdoor video today because it is just a beautiful day, and this past weekend was all rainy and I was all inside anyway, so I was not going to be down in my basement today. We're doing an outdoor video. Today we're going to be talking about wealth generation in TCGs, and is it worth it or is it all a scam? I'm going to give you my honest thoughts. So if you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the like button, and I'm really excited to just chat about this. Go back to a little bit more of the roots of the channel and just have an open conversation about this stuff. So first off, I want to get out my biases. I do want you to keep watching the channel, and people who are engaged with magic finance or collecting and investing in TCGs would like my channel. So there is a little bit of a bias there. And then obviously I do own a store. I do like selling stuff, so there's a bias there as well. But I'm going to give you my honest takes here on, is it worth it to get involved in generating wealth through TCGs? And the first thing I want to say off the bat, there are far easier ways to generate wealth in your life than buying and selling magic cards or Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or any of the alternative indie TCGs. There are far safer and far easier ways for you to generate wealth for yourself. The problem with those ways, in my opinion, is that they're just not as sexy. It's not as fun as having a first edition base set Charizard or, a dual land. I'm picking up 21 dual lands this week in a purchase. That's sexy. It's fun. It's fun to show off on camera. It's fun to hold. It's fun to collect. That kind of collecting and investing, it is sexy, but it is far, far more difficult. I purchased a house a few years ago. Actually, I purchased a house 8 years ago. And the amount of money that we made from that house allowed us to buy this house. And I don't have to do anything. There's maintenance and all that stuff. I don't have to do anything to generate the wealth of the house. It's just the housing market kind of naturally goes up. 401ks, if you're not buying into your company's 401k, that's the easiest way. Oftentimes they'll match it too. It's the easiest way to make money and generate wealth. Stocks and crypto are a little bit more risky, but when it comes to selling the product at the end of the day, it takes a lot of energy to sell cards and to cash out or whatever. Whereas stocks and crypto, you hit a button and you can sell your stuff, and it's really easy and less work in order to generate that wealth or see the return on the other end. You see, time is a major factor whenever you start talking about collecting or investing in cards. Oftentimes people forget the amount of time that goes into shipping and listing and selling and packing and receiving and grading and looking at the condition of cards. All that stuff is a massive time sink. And at the end of the day, your time is money. So if you spend, an hour working on one card and getting it through the whole process, that's an hour you could have spent doing something else. And those more traditional investment opportunities don't come with that heavy price tag of the time. Now, obviously, owning a house, there's a lot of time. I'm going to be cutting my yard later. There's a lot of time invested in that, but you also get the benefit of living in a house. It's a necessity for life. So it's just, when you talk about TCGs, you have to talk about the amount of time that goes into it. It's not just a risk in terms of value of things that can go up or down, but it's a risk that your time management and the amount of time that you invest in it. The second thing I want to talk about, particularly with Magic, and this is primarily a Magic the Gathering channel, but primarily with Magic, is that the recent price increases of Magic, and people don't really talk about this anymore. We had a massive price increase about, it must be 8 years ago. They increased the price like 10%, and then recently, about 2 years ago, they increased the price of standard draft boxes like another 11% at the distribution cost. But really what no one is really talking about is the price of like supplemental products that they just throw out a random number seemingly for the price of the box and how many packs. Baldur's Gate was really the first time they did this. But I want to use an example here. And the point here is that Magic's price increase increases the risk of Magic investment exponentially. If you look at Throne of Eldraine, this set's like at least, it's got to be 5 years old now. Collector boxes of Throne of Eldraine currently are between $275 and $300 a box. And if you compare that to Lord of the Rings, a new set that's coming out now with no years of growth and no years of, whatever, Lord of the Rings is at $360 for a collector box. And that, by investing in a Lord of the Rings collector box, which, by the way, I have these for sale at GameGrove.gg, so I want you to buy this. I'm extremely biased, but buying a box at $360, your risk is so much greater than 5 years ago when you bought the Throne of Eldraine box. And I mean, at the time, I think those were even $250 if I'm remembering correctly. The risk is just increased because the cost has increased, and we still don't know how the market is going to accept these flashy variant long-term growth. There's no real data for, 5 years ago, Throne of Eldraine was the first collector box, and it's only worth $275 now, and that's a 5-year window. And man, it's just the increased price run, or the increased price point of Magic product makes Magic, in my mind, a little bit of a dangerous investment, even thinking in a 5-year plan. I almost think you have to widen your horizons now for Magic, where it used to be 5 years. Now I think it's more like 10. It's more like 8 to 10 years before you're going to see a significant return on your investment to make it kind of worth it. And in that time, like I said, that money could go to something else, and you could be putting that into a stock or a 401k or into your house or whatever, and that makes it really interesting to talk about. You just need to know the point of this. On the second point here is that the risk is higher because of the price, and it's not just a cost basis risk. It's more of a, will the market really accept a? Will you really see Lord of the Rings collector boxes being bought in volume at any volume at $500 a box in a year? Well, maybe if the ring's not pulled by then you will, but it just seems hard to justify that when the first collector box from 5 years ago is only $275. It's just different. It's just a different thing. So the last part here, though, I do want to say, all that being said, it is possible. It is possible to generate an amount of wealth for yourself in your life by carefully and intentionally and putting a lot of time into trading card games. And I am an example of this. I have seen some good returns, and I'm not going to share all the details with you, but I have found that over the last 2 or 3 years of really leaning into this, I have been able to generate some really cool collectible pieces, some really things that if I ever did decide to cash out, I'm sure that I would be able to say that my financial wealth is better off now than it was 2 years ago when I started the YouTube channel. I really started going into this. I want to give you a caveat there, though, that I quit my job. I went all in on this. I own a store now, so there's a whole nother avenue of getting things, in trade-ins and that kind of stuff. If you really love this, if you really love trading card games and that kind of thing is really attractive to you, I think that there still is an opportunity to do this, but you just have to know, and this is something that I've had to come to grips with. You have to know that the time that you are spending doing this could be better suited from a pure monetary stance doing something else. It is not as efficient for me to spend time doing trading card games where I could go off and, sell stocks or flip houses. I possess the ability and the skills to flip houses, that kind of thing. It is a constant thought of mine. But the difference is I love trading card games. And I have found that diversifying into not just Magic, but Pokemon and Cryptic, and we're seeing Sorcery and all these new TCGs. There are ways to trade and make your way through and navigate this space and really come out in a really great way. And not only monetarily, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments that are like, trading card games aren't. There's games to be played. They're not investable things. And the reality is, they are games that I love and I enjoy, and I also get to play with and host events for and share with my friends and just really engage with in a really fun way. And I enjoy the process of collecting and investing and trading and being part of that. So that time factor, while it is inefficient and it is not the most optimal way to make money, the joy that comes from it being a game and something that I can look at and love and collect and really enjoy. That joy factor there is really important at the end of the day. So it is possible to make money and to generate wealth in your life if you put in the effort, if you put in the diversity, if you diversify, not just sticking with one game, but you go around to the other games and you learn about them and you do your research and you put in the time. And you put in risk management of not getting greedy and ending up selling some stuff to justify and lower your cost basis or lower your risk. But that last factor of joy is just so important. So I'm really curious to hear what you have in the comment section. Where do you find in this world that investing in TCGs fits in? Because I know there's people that are smarter than me in the comment section. And do you do stocks? Do you do 401k? Do you do all the stuff and then TCGs, or is TCGs up higher on the list? I'm really curious to hear from you. And those of you who think nobody should ever invest in TCGs, that's stupid, I want to hear your takes too. And I just want to say, like, I feel them. I think they're valid. I think it's weird sometimes with certain like Lorcana's coming out. It's like, will kids even be able to get to enjoy the product? And if kids aren't able to enjoy the product, then how will this actually evolve and grow like Pokemon did? And it's just all really interesting. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Enjoy the outdoors today. If it's beautiful around you, make sure you get outside and know that there's more to life than TCGs. And if all of your investment and all of your money is in trading card games, you really need to diversify away from that. This is not financial advice, any of this, but man, make sure you are diversifying away from this and talk to your financial advisor or whatever. Anyway, have yourself a great day. Be kind to the people around you. Get yourself outside, and we'll see you again next video.